What's going on, guys? You are tuned in to the Hot List, where we talk about real estate questions, topics, and concerns. I'm your host, Matt Johnson, with Keller Williams Realty. And what I do is I answer questions from you, the viewers, the listeners, from past clients, current clients, and we just kind of talk about real estate in general. And what we do is if you have a question, not sure where to look for the answer, you can feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to be the one that you start with and be that real estate resource that you lean on when it comes to your real estate questions. Just as a disclaimer here, questions that people ask me, I do answer from my own experience or my own knowledge. Those that I am not as familiar with, I do some research just to check and kind of give the best answer that I can, whether it's something that I can relate to or tie to, versus whether it's something I strictly research and am just kind of reading what I've been able to find. So if you guys have a question or real estate topic that you would like to discuss or like me to answer, I would absolutely welcome that, because without your questions and without real estate topics and people reaching out to me, we wouldn't have a show, right? So you can send them to me on Facebook, the podcast player that you're listening to this on. You can absolutely reach out to me there, because uh, this not only goes to Facebook, this goes to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify. So if you're on any of those, make sure that you subscribe, download the updated and latest episode, and then just drop your comments or your question in the comment section, and it will absolutely get to me. So what we're talking about today is a question that a lot of people have asked. I've had a lot of not just sellers that have asked this, but buyers as well. And the question of the day: are LED lights worth the upgrade? And I will kind of give you a spoiler alert. Me personally, I absolutely believe they are. Um, you, Once we get into one of the tips here or reasons why, you'll understand why I think they're worth it as well. This time of year is the darkest time of the year, not only because it gets darker earlier, it seems to just last for so much longer. And there's nothing more important this time of year than proper lighting. And unfortunately, switching on standard incandescent bulbs will cost you more money, because the more hours that they run, the more that they're going to cost you. Makes sense, right? I know. Stick with me. It gets pretty simple. We keep it pretty simple on the show here, and like I said, I just try to break this down so anybody can understand it as well as hopefully relate to it. So after doing some research for this topic, uh, I did find out that today's LED bulbs are actually better than they've ever been. They mimic traditional bulbs in almost every single way. There is one exception to this, and that is they have more benefits to homeowners than what the standard incandescent bulbs. And I'm not going to talk about today are going to be specific brands or wattages, or which color of light or white is better than the other. Today we're going to discuss more of just the general benefits of switching from incandescent to LEDs. So what we're going to get into today are three benefits of switching to LED lighting. Number one, and I led with this one for a reason: LEDs are safer in homes. As somebody who has shorted out as well as burnt a lot of lamps, and when I say burnt, I don't mean like I burn out the bulb in the lamps. Like, I actually melted these lamps because of the bulbs that were in them. So, yes. Uh, and it's because I wanted to start with this one because incandescent bulbs get hot, like super hot, especially if they're enclosed in certain lamps, like the ones that I had, or some type of recessed or can fixture. You can look up for yourself how many recessed lights have caught fire because of the wrong wattage bulb that was installed. And, we've all been there. I've been there myself where you want more light and you want your space to be brighter. So you may have installed a 100-watt bulb instead of a 40-watt or 60-watt that was recommended for that light fixture or for that can light. Can happen to anyone, right? Please tell my wife that. Now, LEDs, on the other hand, barely generate any heat. And regardless of how bright they are, so it doesn't matter if it's the 100-watt equivalent or 60-watt equivalent, uh, or whatever color that they put out, they're going to generate very little heat. And this means almost no risk of fire due to overheating. And that's really what makes them safer to leave running without any type of supervision. This includes recessed lighting and can lighting. As an added bonus, there are, if you have those recessed lights or can lights, there are actually LED lighting kits that you can purchase, and these will replace the old can lights and housing, which further reduces the risk of overheating. Just kind of wanted to throw that in there as something I found doing research. Number two benefit are additional features. Incandescent bulbs are like a one-trick pony. They're really good at making light, and that's about it. Now, LEDs, on the other hand, are very versatile. They can have built-in speakers, so you have on-demand music in your bathroom or patio. Yes, that's a thing. They can also change color of your bulb based on needs. So maybe if you want to use them as a nightlight or in your kitchen as a soft light or accent light, you can change the color to blue or maybe red and green for Christmas. Whatever the case is, they not only have built-in speakers, but the colors can change as well. Plus, as another fancy little option here, many of them are compatible with Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa. And what that means and what that works turns out for you is these can be turned on or off without a switch. You can do it from your phone, you can do it from one of those assisted devices, whatever the case may be. It's just an added feature and added benefit that I think is very cool and worth making the switch. And finally, that brings us to number three, energy consumption. Just as a little disclaimer here, there is going to be some math involved. These are just rough numbers and based on the averages of what I found during research. So, don't sue me. So third benefit, energy consumption. LED bulbs can not only save you money, they can save energy as well. It may not seem like much, but most 60-watt incandescent bulbs on average will run for about 5 hours a day. That equals around $11 per year for that one bulb. Again, may not seem like much, but for many of us that have close to 30 bulbs in a house, that's around $330 per year. And the lifespan of these incandescent bulbs is around 1,000 hours, which means if you run those for just 5 hours a day, you're replacing bulbs at least every 6 months. Now, those of us that are working from home, like myself and like many of us did through the pandemic, that 5 hours a day may be closer to 16 hours between work and then everybody getting home from school and staying up and having family time. So you're going to upwards of 16 hours a day instead of 5. So then right there, that one bulb goes from $11 to $35, which means you're spending over $1,000 a year for those same 30 bulbs. So on the flip side of that, with LEDs, these only cost a fraction of that, because a 10-watt LED, that is the equivalent to that 60-watt incandescent, running for the same 5 hours a day, you're looking at about $1.83 per year for that one bulb. And the lifespan of these isn't 1,000 hours, it's close to 5 years. So you're replacing them a lot less. You're replacing them a lot less often than what you are with the incandescent. And if you're working from home with that same 16-hour day, that's going to be about $5.84 for that same time frame versus the $35 a day. So if you do the same 16-hour day, same 30 bulbs, when you're spending over $1,000 a year with the incandescent, you're looking around $175 per year switching over to LEDs. That is a huge savings. You're talking about $900 worth of savings, which I think is absolutely worth doing. So is this enough to entice you to want to make the change? Maybe do some research of your own and just kind of verify the information that I've been given. Again, I personally made the change. I noticed a difference in my electric bill switching from the incandescent bulbs over to LEDs. LEDs, I seem to be replacing a lot. I don't seem to be as replacing those as often as I was doing the incandescent bulbs with the color light and changing lights. I think that's something that's very cool. I can do that from my phone. If we're gone, we can make it look like somebody's home. You can kind of set up a routine, put them on a timer, all kinds of different options that just make them a little more user friendly and provide a little bit of security as well. So those are the top 3 benefits of switching to LEDs. Again, number 1, LEDs are safer in the home. Maybe you might have burned out some lamps or some lights or something like that. Again, I've done it. Hopefully we've all done it at some point. But because LEDs don't generate as much heat, they barely generate any heat. So they're a lot safer to leave on, less concerned if you forget to turn it off, or if you want a higher wattage bulb to brighten up a space, an LED is a great option. Number 2 was additional features, not just having a light, but you can have these that have built-in speakers. They can change the color of the bulbs. You can tie them to Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa, create a routine, have the lights come on or go off at a certain time, as well as control the lights from your phone, which leads to security. If you're not home, maybe you're gone for the weekend, you want to make sure that your lights come on so it looks like somebody's home. You can do that from your phone or with Alexa or Google Assistant. And finally, number 3, the energy consumption. Changing from the incandescent to the LEDs, just running a standard day per year, whether you're running 5 hours a day or 16 hours a day, it's absolutely going to save you some money. Plus, with the incandescent, you're going to be looking at changing those every 6 months, where the LED, the average lifespan is approximately 5 years. So that is a huge win itself right there. I don't know that I can say any more about it than that, or that anything's even necessary. Let me know in the comments. Did I miss something? Is there an advantage that you've noticed switching to LEDs that I didn't add to the list? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys and keep this going back and forth. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure that you guys submit a question that you have about real estate or about houses. I would be happy to help answer that for you or give you some guidance along the way. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, I'm your host, Matt Johnson with Keller Williams Realty. I do this because your experience matters and should be trusted with a veteran. Y'all have a phenomenal Wednesday, and I'll see you at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time tomorrow. Take care.